Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today, we're going back in space, but we're still trying not to make too much noise, otherwise known as Clank. In the expansion to Clank in Space Apocalypse, we'll be finding our way through new areas of the ship, but Lord Eradicus has a grand and wicked scheme which will bring new challenges and possible actions for you to choose from. Now you'll be trying to loot the valuable artifacts and escape before the apocalypse here in Clank in Space Apocalypse, which is the expansion to Clank in Space. So you need to have the base game in order to play. It plays 2 to 4 players, takes 45 to 90 minutes to play, and is published by Renegade Game Studios. Today we'll be doing a rule school where I'll teach you how to set up and play the game so that you don't have to read the rulebook yourself. Now I placed timestamps below me in the description of this video just in case you want to jump to a specific section of the rules. Without further ado, let's get started. Clank in Space Apocalypse adds new schemes where you'll select one of 8 different schemes at 3 different possible levels, which essentially are Lord Eradicus's evil plots. And these schemes have 3 different levels that will trigger as black cubes are pulled from the bag. If one scheme ever gets filled, it activates that ability and may get worse and worse, finally with an ongoing ability if all 3 trigger. But if a scheme is not completed, you can do different things depending on the scheme to take these black cubes and place them in front of you, where you can gain points for them at the end or use them to trigger special effects on cards and special effects on the board. And the game also comes with 35 new adventure cards that you can add to the deck to increase the replayability of the game. To set up, you're first going to select only one of these new scheme cards. These represent Lord Eradicus's dastardly plans to devastate the galaxy. There's different category levels, category 1, 2, and 3. The higher the number, the more difficult it will be. Place all the other ones in the box after you've selected the single one you'll use. Now, any and all the setup and or game rules are going to be the same as the base game unless otherwise stated. Now, this expansion comes with 2 new modules, and feel free to mix the old and the new modules together for any game, but we strongly suggest using at least one of the new boards, which are also double-sided. Keep in mind that some of the schemes in the bottom left-hand corner mention a specific module that must be used in a game if that scheme card is used. For added ambiance, when battling this Apocalypse expansion, you may replace the original boss marker with this Haldos. This is Lord Eradicus's homicidal AI. Now these schemes have 3 different levels. It starts in level 1. Now, when black cubes are pulled from the bag, they get added to the current scheme like this. So as they're added, they will first add to scheme number 1. However, if it ever gets all the way filled, this ability immediately triggers. In this case, remove unclaimed power crystals from the game. When additional black cubes are added, they'd start on the next scheme, and so on and so forth. Whenever it fills up, it will trigger, and if it ever gets all the way filled up, there's an ongoing problem that happens in this case. In this case, abilities requiring the resistance cards cannot be used. Now, depending on the scheme, you can do things to take black cubes from the scheme card and back. For example, if you spent 2 skills, you can take a black cube and you would take this and put it in front of you. Now, you can never take one from a scheme that has been already completed, only the most recent one that has not been completed. And the different schemes differ as to what you'll need to do. In this case, spending 3 swords to take back a black cube, but if you're in the portal chamber model, you spend 2. And they all do things different that are self-explanatory on each of the schemes. Also, you can use boots to take a cube from a scheme, even if you're affected by dizziness or at a security checkpoint. Also, there must be at least 1 black cube of the active scheme in order to take it. Now, these black cubes that you've taken and put in front of you off the scheme are worth 1 point at the end of the game for each of them. Or you can use them as you play certain cards to spend to activate certain effects. For example, you could spend a black cube when you play this card to use the effect of a data port that you've already hacked. Or use it to get 4 swords, or acquire a memory core, or teleport to a space adjacent to your module. Or the boss attacks and you take no damage, return the cubes pulled of your color back to the supply, or you can spend 2 to get 10 credits. Now each of these can only be activated once, and you could do it any time on your turn. Now there's also certain spots on the board that when you're there you can spend a cube to gain a different benefit. And here's sort of a legend of all the different ways that you can spend those cubes on the board to do different things. Now, if for some reason you want to play with the new modular boards, but you don't want to play with the schemes, all black cubes that are pulled from the bag become a part of a new single pool. During your turn, you can buy one of these cubes from the pool for 3 skill, and this will allow you to use these cubes on those spaces of the board. Well, I hope this helped you dive right into Clank in Space Apocalypse and get to the fun quicker than you normally would if you had to read the rulebook yourself. Now, if you have any further questions about the rules, I've placed a link below me in the description of this video, and that's the best place to ask it, because not only will I be notified, but so will Renegade Game Studios. This has been the Game Boy Geek, helping you find and enjoy the next board game you'll love.